another episode of The Next Fix. And today, we've got a stellar gentleman who has found himself on the better end of recovery, where we all want to be, right? But it didn't start out that way. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing from Ben McQueen. He's got some very cool stuff that he's developed after he put down the bottle / needles, pills, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. So that's where we're going to ask him today. Ben, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed to be here, doing great. I used to kind of jokingly call myself an equal opportunity substance abuser.
Okay.
I definitely got started with alcohol, and alcohol was, from a young age, I always watched my father struggle with his alcohol issue.
Right.
And anytime there was something to celebrate, anytime there was something to numb, alcohol was there. It was
so you talking about for him? You talking about for him? Oh, right. So what did it look like though, man? Was he like, was he the angry kind? Was he smacking around?
No, he was a nice drunk. He was a sloppy drunk. He was a undependable drunk. He was also a gambler. I found out, even more recently within the last 2 years that's something I do not do.
Okay.
I'm not a good gambler, not a good stock trader. It's not something I get involved with. But from a young age, I watched people change the way that they felt with substances.
Yeah.
And when I was 11, I had my first drink and immediately fell into a culture of drinking with the older kids, trying to be cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, damn, you gotta imagine, you're probably enjoying candy more than, I knew I was enjoying candy more at that time. But yeah, 11. And then when you say older kids, the 13-year-old bad kids on the street.
I was actually hanging out with 17-year-olds. I was usually very funny. So I always tried to fit in, and alcohol was kind of that tool that I used to fit in. My mom was an antiques dealer, and so she was out of town a lot, which gave me a lot of levity to kind of abuse the freedom that came with being unobserved and not immediately taken care of. Mm-hmm. Because my father had actually passed away when I was 12, and I suspect it was alcohol related. He was in bad shape. He'd been on a blood thinner, and he was still drinking a lot, and that's not a great combination. He hit his head and unfortunately passed away because of a subdermal hematoma. And so I think that trauma led in a lot to how I would lean into substances, alcohol, cannabis, really anything that would change the way I felt. Because I think inside I felt really sad and abandoned in a lot of ways.
Right.
And so through partying, through drinking at a young age, I found community and togetherness, and I felt like I fit in. And when I was 14, I almost got kicked out of high school because I puked on my high school principal at a football game. I remember I was partying with some kids, and we were playing beer pong with tequila, and I was not good at beer pong. And so I went to a big football game, got to the top of the stadium, got the spins, ran down the stairs, leaned over a railing, and unfortunately my principal was standing right on the other side of that railing.
Right.
And that was my first run-in with the law, because I got arrested.
Right.
I got arrested.
You got arrested. You're 14.
Mm-hmm. For being drunk in public and vomiting on a school official.
Yeah, or vomiting on anybody. It goes bad. It's not it's
usually
upon.
Yeah, usually. And so I kind of straightened out for a little bit in high school. I felt like I was managing my addiction. And then I went to college. And when I went to college, the wheels fell off.
But dude, it's such a peculiar statement. You are managing your addiction and you're in high school. I had a kind of similar start. I was so damn clueless. If I had like managing, I was looking around. I'm like, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. But yeah, all right. So you get to college, okay, and then shit hits the fan, right? Even more so.
Yep. I get to college. I went to Indiana University, which is a great school, and got into a fraternity. I ended up getting kicked out of that fraternity for drinking, which it's like
That
I
just
beat the game
it's so
and they kicked
bad.
me out. So it was one of the fraternities that was kind of like the bad boys, you know, and
Oh
they
my
were like,
god,
you've got to get some help, man.
that's wild.
And so at this time, I'm a full blown alcoholic. I'm drinking a fifth to a half gallon of liquor every day. I'm not going to class. I'm shaking when I don't drink. I'm having full blown withdrawals.
Oh my god.
And I've totally isolated myself from society, essentially. I've locked myself in my apartment. I got a DUI when I was 20, and that was my first introduction to recovery, because I started going to AA meetings, 12-step meetings, trying to get a grasp on this because I wasn't having fun anymore. I was
Right.
really struggling. And I got admitted to my first psych ward when I was 21 and another psych ward when I was 22.
Yeah.
Because one of the things about my drinking is when I would drink super heavily, I would feel this hopelessness would overwhelm me and I would want to kill myself. And so things weren't going great.
Yeah. No. And honestly, man, like we are very much aligned. Although I did it later, right? Like I was doing the half. I was doing the liter a day. You know what I mean? And by the way, for anybody listening, like that volume of alcohol when you are consuming it, one, if you quit, it can kill you. Like, did you ever have seizures?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
And it's
went through
like,
delirium tremens.
was
So I think the medical term is delirium tremens, which is the severe withdrawal from alcohol. It's shaking.
I
There's a
didn't know
lot
that.
of visual. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I would have full on
Hallucinations.
psychosis. Yeah. Hallucinations.
Brother,
It
yeah,
was savage.
I did. Yeah, that's true. In fact, one time I took the cash I had in me and went to a neighbor's house. For the life of me, I thought I had real conversations and I left the cash. I just left a bunch of cash. I thought I was like, whatever, paying somebody. Another, because I got diagnosed with schizophrenia because I was so convicted in my stories that people were like, dude, yeah, you've like lost it. So yeah, man, I've never heard that term to describe it, but yeah, that's that makes a lot of sense. But holy shit, yeah, that's you. Yeah, you and I both share that. And by anybody that's really been to that level, death is right around the corner. I mean, that's how close you are, right? So that's where you're at.
Yeah. I got real close a couple times. I remember one time I had, a wayward lady that was spending time with me and she slapped me awake because another thing I was doing at this time was taking Xanax.
Mm.
So I was like taking pills and drinking heavily and like not breathing when I would pass out. And so, as you know, one of the things that comes along with being an alcoholic and a drug addict is this terrible feeling of humiliation and self-hatred.
Mm.
And so when I was done with college, I somehow managed to scrape by. I've always been kind of a clutch test taker. So I would have these small periods of time where I would get my shit together and go to class and get the things done. I really wanted to be sober. Well, I wanted the consequences of my drinking to stop. I didn't want to be sober. I wanted to drink without consequences.
Right.
Does
Right.
that
Right.
make
Right. Right.
sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't. It's not logical sense, but in a
No.
sick mind, I can see where you would be like, well, why can't I have this without that? But yeah,
Right.
it's twisted.
Well, especially when you're that young, you're surrounded by people that are doing it, that are drinking and going to class and having a normal life. it's almost like you're not normal if you can't do that because you're in college. Everybody does it in college. It's just when I would do it in college, it wouldn't stop. I would keep going. And so I ended up in a spot where I had to move down to live with my mom who lives in Florida. And when I moved down to Florida, as you know, geographical fixes rarely work because wherever you go, there you are. And I got a job, immediately lost the job, and had to go to rehab. So my mom drives me to rehab. I do 43 days at this beautiful rehab. I straighten out. I feel great. I'm feeling like I'm in the stream of life. Everything's going good. I get out of rehab. 3 days later, I'm drunk again. And I go, I got to change things. So I decide to move to Colorado to live with an old snowboarding buddy. On the airplane ride to Colorado, I was 30 days sober. Relapse on the airplane. And for alcoholics and drug addicts, airports are historically a tough place.
Yeah.
Because there's no oversight. You're alone. You're around people that don't know you. There's liquor everywhere. And
you got about 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when I arrived in Colorado, I had drank away almost all of my money on a flight. And the people that I had moved in with were doing heroin. And so they were getting evicted. They didn't tell me they were getting evicted. So all of a sudden I'm homeless in Colorado.
Yeah.
And drunk. And so I called the AA hotline and somebody came and picked me up and brought me to a halfway house. And that's where I started to really get my life back together.
Damn. Okay. All right. So, and then, man, and like, I'm not an AA guy. It never was my thing, but like, you know, that is powerful for the hotline to actually eventually connect you with somebody. Cause that's not exactly how it works, but for them to kind of piece that together on the fly and pull that off for you. Oh my God, that's crazy, man. So, but you stayed in Colorado? Is that the deal?
No, so it was a beautiful experience, you know, and relapse is a big part of my story. Just to be clear, you know, when I got into that halfway house, I was 24 years old, and I got sober for a while. I was doing yoga, going to lots of meetings, had a sponsor, had a sponsee. I was sponsoring guys. And I've learned a lot of great stuff through the 12 steps. And I think there's a lot of beauty to be, and a lot of lessons to be taken from the people in those rooms. But there's something was missing for me. And I ended up relapsing while I was living at that halfway house. Had a little adventure for a month or two living in some guy's basement, and then got back into that halfway house. And right about this time is when I started noticing that some of the guys in this halfway house were drinking this stuff called Kava. And I was like, what's this all about? You know, I was kind of unsure about it. And I found myself in a spot where I was really considering doing the same thing I've done a million times, which is going back out and blowing my life up with some booze. And I ended up at this Kava bar instead. In this Kava bar in Colorado Springs, Karuna Kava bar. It's a great spot. I walked in there, and there were all these people that weren't drinking booze, but seemed to have a community, seemed to have a friendliness, seemed to have a connection and a shared vision of living a healthier, better way of life. And I fell in love with it. I totally fell in love with it. And right about this time, a young lady I was sharing some time with got pregnant. I found out I was going to be a dad. And
you're kind of lightly touching on a couple things. One, you mentioned an adventure in some guy's basement. What does that mean, man? Like, were you like slamming drugs and he happened to, I mean, what the hell is that, man? Like, what were you?
He was a nice dude, man. But like when I got kicked out of the halfway house, I was looking for rooms for rent on like Craigslist. And this dude had an unfinished basement. And he said, you know, you can live down here for $400 a month. And so I drank myself nearly to death in that basement for like a month and a half, you know? And so it was after getting to another low point that I was decided to get back into the sober living house.
Okay. Yeah. Then you went back. Now you're going to be a dad, or I'm sorry, I interrupted you a little bit. You are a dad, or you got a girl pregnant now. You're staring at fatherhood.
Yep. So I was staring at fatherhood, and in the meantime, I'd actually gotten a job at this kava bar because I was trying to be a bartender. You know, I apologize to that bar for all the stolen product, but
Oh man.
but I had, you know, I've always worked at restaurants. I really enjoyed working at restaurants, so I had some skills. So I got a job at this kava bar and started kind of learning a little bit of the ins and outs of the business. Now, we run our business very differently from the way that they run their business, but when I found out I was going to be a dad, I started to have this idea that I really needed to do something more with my life. You know, I wanted to give my son something that I did not have when I was growing up, which was stability, safe home, healthy home, comfort, sober home to grow up in. But I also really liked my boss. Matt Clark is a fantastic guy. And so I started looking for spots that did not have a kava bar, but did have good outdoor activities like snowboarding and hiking and skiing and stuff because I really love the outdoors.
Okay, I want to stop you right here because forgive my ignorance, but I know I'm not alone here. There's people listening. What the hell's kava, man? I don't
The
know
hell
what
is
it is.
kava?
What the hell's kava, man? Tell
What the
us.
hell is kava? So kava is a 1,000-year-old tradition from the South Pacific islands of Vanuatu, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii, Micronesia, of drinking a strong beverage produced from the roots of the kava plant, Piper
Okay.
methysticum. Essentially, the roots of the kava plant are rich in a series of compounds known as kava lactones. These kava lactones, like yangonin, kavain, dihydrokavain, desmethoxyyangonin, myristicin, dihydromyristicin. These compounds act as fast-acting anxiolytics. They relieve stress and anxiety. They're mood boosters. They make you feel kind of euphoric and cheerful and uplifted. And they're muscle relaxants, so they relax tension. They
How many
also
times?
have this.
How many times have you said that, man? You said like about 15 words that like were blowing my mind. Like, what's it?
I just studied up on it before, so. But no, I mean,
I'm a quick study. I just went over it lightly.
but probably thousands of times
Yeah,
because, you know, when I chose Boise as the spot where we were going to launch the venture, nobody here knows what kava is. Nobody knows anything about it. And one of the most amazing qualities of kava that most addicts and alcoholics immediately recognize is that if you have a craving for your drug of choice and you drink kava, you don't really want to go use it anymore. That was one of the first things that I noticed when I went into that kava bar that first time is I drank some kava and all of a sudden I wasn't thinking about getting fucked up anymore. But I wasn't fucked up. I was in this, we call it getting rooted. It's like a state of calm, but very mindful calm.
All right.
And so I move myself and my baby and this woman to Boise and I start doing farmers markets. I'm doing farmers markets. We're trying to spread the good word about kava. People don't like it. It's, you know, it doesn't taste very good. It's super earthy, bitter. Kava is actually the Tongan word for bitter. And we have a saying, taste bad, feels rad. It's definitely more about the effects.
Right.
And so for 3 years, we just did farmers markets. We ended up selling online. We figured out how to pasteurize it and ship it across the country and make it a little more palatable for the American taste. And the whole time it's growing. And then eventually I got some investors and we were able to open Karuna Kava bar, because really for me, the key to a successful kava business, it's got to be a bar, because that's where everybody gathers. That's where everybody finds their community, and community more than kava is what has helped me stay sober. I just celebrated 2 years on the 15th of this month.
Hey, congratulations, man. Nice.
Thank you, man.
That was 3 days. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to end up putting this episode out in a little bit, but yeah. Awesome, brother. 2 years. Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah. And I mean, the last time I drank, I did not drink very much. I was in kind of a stressed time right at the beginning of the business opening, and I drank again. And I ended up putting a rifle in my mouth and having the cops come and arrest me and bring me to the third psych ward that I'd stayed in. And it was in that psych ward that I really came to this conclusion that I physically and emotionally just don't enjoy the way alcohol feels. I don't like the effect of drinking. I like being sober. I enjoy it. It's fun to be sober. And that was kind of a psychic change that I feel like I underwent in that facility. But
now, let me unpack something real quick, man. And this is like big. This is something I'm really big into. Is that like if you have an addict's or an alcoholic's like mindset, typically, from what I can tell, is that you need to have something you kind of need to have something to be addicted to, right? So what I'm seeing objectively here is that now you have the business, and then you're stressed from the business, so you drank some and it went poorly. But like the one thing that is clearly different here is that you have a goal and aim. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and I kind of say that a lot, is that like, I think that the people that change the world the most are addicts. I say it all the time. Like, Steve Jobs, he was addicted to innovation. You know what I mean? I say Mother Teresa was addicted to peace. And maybe that word doesn't fit perfectly for most people. They might look at it as negative, but when you forego time with your family, your own health, or whatever it might be, to pull off what you are addicted to, and with these people is very true, right? Like, it's good to have that aim. But so this third time in a psych ward, you're in there, but there's something different, right? There's this new venture, right? You've got this family growing, right? So there's a couple of different things here. And do you feel like that may have been a catalyst for a bucket to put your energy?
Absolutely. I mean, I tell people this all the time here at the Kava Bar, because we have a lot of new people that come in here that are trying to get sober, trying to stay away from whatever drug that they are struggling with. Once you have the bug, you've got the bug. It's not going to go away. So if AA is the thing that you replace it with, and you go to 3 meetings a day and that helps you stay sober, that's great. That's fantastic. If fishing is your thing, that's great. I think the key for me is to spread it out amongst multiple things, because the business is definitely a great thing to throw energy into. The community here fills my cup. There
you go.
All the laughter, the joy. It's a bar. It's a fun bar where we don't serve alcohol. But my family is another thing that I like to fill my cup with. Hunting has recently, in the last couple of years, really become a thing that I get just totally obsessed about. You got to get obsessed with something. You got to make sure that whatever you're obsessed with is going to be...
That's the ticket. Yeah.
Proactive. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, because man, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if you just take all that energy, like, because fighting against, like, let's just face it, like, moderation's not on. It's not on the table. It's just not on the table. Like, you're like, I can have 2. Well, that's not a fucking option. So like, it's like, okay, if 20 is the number of what you got to do of anything, like, make sure it's valuable to other people around you, whatever it is, right? If it's 20 meetings or whatever, it's like, just add value behind it. And then all of a sudden you could just turn all that energy into like this blessing. And so very cool, man. And so are kava bars known? Is that known for recovery, or is it known for sobriety, or is it like What I'm, because again, very ignorant over here.
Yeah. I mean, so it really depends on the kava bar. Some kava bars, in my opinion, are kratom bars in disguise. There's different substances that are available in the United States. Kava is on the more holistic, and because kava is not physically addictive, there's no withdrawal from kava. It can be habit forming, just like anything else that changes your mind and your mood.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other substances that are physically addictive that kind of get pushed off in some of these bars. We really try and steer clear of those. We're not big fans of those. I like traditional kava because the cost benefit ratio is very positive in your favor. It is a harm reduction technique. It's a harm reduction tool because you can sit in here at our kava bar and drink 20 kavas and you're not going to destroy your life. You're not going to pass out or say something terrible to your loved ones So kava bars are kind of like this middle ground between an AA meeting and a dive bar.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not, a lot of people in traditional 12-step recovery would say that you're not sober if you drink kava.
Wow. Okay.
Because it does affect you. But so does coffee, and so do cigarettes,
True.
so do pharmaceutical drugs that get prescribed to addicts and alcoholics. I feel like our bar is its own recovery community. We support each other. We have a book that we have up front that you can put your sobriety date in. We celebrate you.
Okay.
When you're celebrating a date, you get celebrated. We want to help people meet their own goals when it comes to recovery.
Yeah.
Other kava bars will try to fuck you up with natural substances.
Right. Because I've done forgive me, I just kratom. I didn't really get it. And I think it's maybe just because I've just grown so used to narcotics and everything that like when I was waiting for the big bang of what was coming, it like, I don't know, it wasn't on my radar. But I do know people that they make tea out of it and they enjoy that. But again, what you said about AA and like them saying, well, if you drink kava, you're not sober. But like as you pointed out very eloquently, right? Like what are cigarettes? What's coffee? And there's coffee at every damn AA meeting, all of it, right? And so I've always been a proponent of whatever the hell works, man. And what you got is working for some people. Me being sober, I haven't heard of it. I was asking about the connection legitimately, right? Like, so is when it started, like saying from the Samoans and that kind of a thing, when do you think was like the connection between sobriety, recovery, and then this drink? Or is it like so new that you're one of the pioneers?
Oh, no. I mean, because there's over 100 kava bars in Florida. Kava really started in Florida.
I'll be damned.
And it's kind of spread out from Florida since then.
Okay.
And I believe the first kava bar opened in like 2002, maybe in the late 90s. The Knock opened by a guy named Jeff Bowman. He's the real pioneer.
Okay.
But I think in the last 10 years, it's really started to become something that addicts and alcoholics have recognized as a tool for achieving their sobriety from their drug of choice, because it is something, like you said, to fill the gap. I don't think a lot of people come here for the kava.
Yeah, I see.
People come here because they have friends here. People have community here. People have connection here. And all of the addiction, the Rat Park addiction studies where they took rats and put them in a cage where they were left alone with cocaine water, they all drank the cocaine water until they were dead. But when they had friends and connection and activities in a positive environment to exist, they didn't really like to do the cocaine water. They just wanted regular water. And I think that's true for humans too. Like you said, like you got to throw yourself into something. And this is something you can throw yourself into that isn't going to destroy you. It's not going to take you away from yourself. You're not going to, because I'm married now and we've got 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids. When I used to drink in our relationship during like COVID, I was drinking a little bit here and there. We would argue because I was argumentative.
Mhm.
If I ever get into a disagreement with my wife and I drink some kava, I go, "Oh yeah, I was wrong. I am sorry. I love you." It always makes my relationships with the people around me better, more
Interesting.
wholesome. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. And one thing that comes to mind too is that, there was an element because I'm on that train too. I got 10 months old. I got one kid. I'm married now, but there was a very large, like when I was single and sober, there was a period where I was like, well, now what do I do? I basically, I've interacted with the opposite sex in bars, drinking. That's how I did that for so long. And I started with like, oh, I'll never meet anybody. And then it was like, oh, I really wish I could go to bars and meet somebody. And so there was definitely not a safe space, which is very exciting for me to hear that there are bars. It's a bar, but it just doesn't have alcohol. So you can get the job done being social, but not have to be in a place where you have to fight like hell and not to sneak off and order a shot of whatever or steal a bottle from behind the bar, crazy shit like that. So it's like, that's a very, I feel like it's very novel, but you're telling me that, and I'm in Florida. I have no idea. Like, this is definitely going to be a new adventure for me to like kind of see what the hell's happening, because it makes a lot of sense. But no, it's very, very cool. Now, so
Where at in Florida?
I'm in Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
there's kava
I'm sure
bars
it won't
around
be
there.
hard now that I know, like, can kind of take a peek, but that's super cool. So like, so your first bars, you're in Boise. Yeah. And you went there for the, as you put it, snowboarding, the outdoors focus and things like that, which I think was what I miss, because in Florida, there's not a whole lot of that stuff, man. But so how's that going? Like, what you've got the community there? Is the community growing? Are you interested in what do you got on the horizon, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's blown up. It's a little overwhelming, to be totally honest with you. Because we started doing the farmers markets. We did those for 3 years, and I snuck kava into the restaurants that I worked at to sell it to the cooks, and I just tried to sell it to anybody that would buy it and spread the word. But when we opened the bar, it was slow in the beginning, but it's 2.5 years into the bar being open. I'm super happy with the success of it. And we just went through this whole process of going through the franchising process. So now we can kind of take our beautiful way of doing this and spread it to other places, because when we have people come here from Florida or from other spots that have kava bars, they go, man, this is unreal. This is like compared to what we've been used to. This is on a different level, because we focus on single cultivar kava, single strain kava. We focus on the traditional preparation. The layout of the bar is extremely warm and welcoming. And yeah, I'm just stoked to potentially have these in other areas. But I mean, we also sell our products online. So we get a lot of positive feedback from people online from the products that they just buy through our website. Shameless plug, karunakava.com.
Now say it fast, or no, slower. Say it slower, man.
Yeah.
People want to hear this thing.
So that's karunakava.com, Karunakava.com. And
Karuna Kava.
that's hand prepared, traditionally prepared kava. It's very similar to what we serve in the bar, except it's been naturally flavored ever so slightly, but it's tradition. It's real kava. It's not kava extracts. It's not kava concentrate. It's the real deal. And they come in like these sweet 12-ounce little pouches.
So you got a potential franchise, and dude, like, correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm just in my head, I'm like seeing like there's like a picture, right? And I'm seeing a very like tiki like vibe. Is it tiki like a tiki bar? I love tiki bars, man. Like, no, am I wrong? I feel like I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it's definitely beachy. It's like kind of boho, I guess you would say.
Okay.
I wanted to make it, I had this vision for it where it was like where the ocean meets the desert. because in
Okay.
Idaho there's a lot of desert, but I've always been heavily influenced by the ocean. I started surfing when I was 11, and I'm a total poser. I'm not good, but I love it.
You kook?
And I'm a total kook, dude. And
But I'll paddle out though. I'll paddle out there.
I'll get out there. And so when you walk in, it's a very unique space. The colors are unique. A lot of kava bars are very tiki. I find that to be, I don't know. I think they're cool. It's a cool way to run a bar. I just had this vision in my head. Like, our bar top has 4 of the South Pacific Island chains inlaid into it.
Nice.
I got the wood from Costa Rica. It's a rare Guanacaste.
Okay.
It was my first woodworking project. So, like, as soon as you walk in, you feel that wood and you go, whoa, this is on a different level, you know? We got big murals all over the walls. It's a beautiful spot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's where you need to be, brother. You need to be just like spreading out the towns. And I know Boise's an interesting place, and I like how you went there because it wasn't there, right? I think that's pretty smart too, right? Because as we know in Florida, like we'll just beat something to death. So it's like, oh, it's super cool, man. And so when it comes to this kava, the production and where people can get it from you and things like that, like, where is it sourced? And I'll just kind of, right now I'm thinking of like how coffee is sourced and that kind of a thing. But like, what does that look like for you? Like, how does that production go?
Yeah,
Where are you getting it?
We get kava from Hawaii, from Vanuatu. Vanuatu is where most of the world's kava is grown. We get kava from Fiji, from Tonga, the Solomon Islands. Kava grows from Papua New Guinea all the way out to Hawaii. And so the way we make it is in a very similar fashion to how it's been traditionally made by the people of the South Pacific. My thinking is if people have been doing something for 3,000 years, they're probably on to something that might be the right way to do it. And so we use water and quality noble root, meaning there's 2-day kava, there's wild kava, Piper Wichmani. These kavas aren't really made for everyday drinking, but then there's noble varieties of kava. Think like different kinds of tomatoes. Like, my cherry tomatoes are very different from my heirloom purples that I grow. Like, they have different qualities.
Yeah.
And so island to island, they have different cultivars of kava. And a lot of kava products in the US these days are focused more, they use like kava extracts because they're easier to use. You don't have to prepare them. Like, we use an 80 nanometer strainer bag and we squeeze them by hand.
Wow.
There's a lot of good videos on YouTube about how to make traditional kava. If you're going to try traditional kava at home, I would definitely suggest using kava from Calm with Kava, Knock 'em All at Home. Fiji Vanua is a fantastic company. These are companies that sell raw kava that you can make at home. Definitely go the traditional route because it feels so much better. It feels so much more dynamic, so much more intrinsically enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of those extracts, you don't know what the extract was made from. You don't know what the input product was. And so I've always found the traditional prep to be the more enjoyable form. And that's how we make it here. And that's how we make the pouches too.
Awesome, brother. It's killer, man. So again, drive it home. If people want to know more about kava or they want the kava, tell them the website again.
Yep. So that's Karuna Kava, KarunaKava.com. And we've got a lot of fun information, a lot of fun products on there. We've got our Kava Lava Fire Cider. That's like an apple cider vinegar health tonic that we add kava to. We juice everything from scratch. We also have some Kana on the website. Kana is another really cool plant from South Africa, Seletium tortuosum. It contains mesembrine and mesembrinone, which are fast-acting SRIs. They're serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They make you feel real euphoric, kind of horny.
Dude, this is when you start saying words like that, I'm like, what the hell are you? Like a freaking biologist or something?
I make them all up.
Yeah, right. You could. I would have no damn idea. But now, and do you talk about your location and you kind of like you tell people like what it's like in case they end up in Boise?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a layover in Boise and you're looking to kill a couple of hours, definitely stop by Karuna Kava bar. We're over here in Garden City, so it's kind of centrally located. Garden City is like a little community within Boise, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, look us up. We're the only Kava bar. So if you come to Boise and you look up Kava, our SEO guy is super good. So you'll find us. And we're open. We're open late. Like tonight, we're open till midnight because we're a bar, you know, and we have people come in that at 11 o'clock that say, man, I was just about to go to a bar and I stopped here instead. And I'm like,
that's rad.
That's
so
what I
cool.
want to hear.
I love it, man. All right, guys. Listen, go check out my boy Ben McQueen. Check out his Kava. Get your ass to Boise. But until next time, guys, it's been The Next Fix. Have a good one.